Alright, let's see what changes are coming to Path of Exile 2.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Well, we're back from our break. We've been playing the game a whole lot, and we've been reading a whole lot of feedback as well.
Same.
So it's time to assess and work out what we're going to do next. Now, later this week we'll be releasing POE 2 0.1.1. This is a patch designed to address the concerns that we can address relatively quickly, without needing to create a new league or a new economy just yet.
Wonder if they're going to be adding any
we'll be
new
going over some of
classes
the
soon,
issues we've identified
or announce them
and
at
what
least.
we're planning on doing about them. It's worth stressing that just because a specific issue isn't on this list doesn't mean that we're not aware of it or that it isn't going to get addressed. It just means that we either can't fix the problem quickly or we can't do so without the need for a new economy. One of the major
Really?
areas that
They're
needs a
not
lot of
resetting the economy. I'm surprised because recently they had a lot of duping bugs from gambling within your hideout, so they had to disable that shit. So there's a lot of crap on the market. The market's basically flooded with some really good high-end items, and it's made it's made currency inflation go through the fucking roof.
attention is the base experience of mapping. We've made a lot of changes here.
Okay.
First, in-game maps have received a balance pass to the number of monsters, number of chests, number of magical rare monsters, number of essences, strongboxes, and precursor artifacts. You should generally find maps more rewarding than before. Maps generally specialize in one or more of these elements that they will be particularly rewarding in.
So maps drop more
Now,
shit
towers
and
are
they
a thing that's
specialize
very
in that
important for
shit.
players to run often, but we only had one of them.
Oh, what's
We wanted to add
this?
more variety here as soon as possible.
Oh, is this
So
a
we've
new
added 4
tower?
more tower maps.
It is.
Alpine Ridge, Sinking Spire,
Oh, Sinking Spire. Is that like a sunken city or something?
Bluff,
Wow, this one's pretty. I like the purple lilac bushes.
and Mesa.
I couldn't give two shits about the desert personally.
We've
It
also
does
redone
look
the
nice,
existing
but-
Lost Towers map to make playing there less boring.
Oh, it's outside now.
We're now also spawning more maps with bosses. The rate was intended to be 1 in 4 maps, but in reality the rate was much lower due to some maps being unable to spawn bosses.
Yeah, no maps
We've
have any
increased the rate to
fucking
compensate
bosses
for this
on them,
issue
man.
So that we can get the actual
And we don't
improvement.
have a tablet for bosses.
We're also adding a new type of tablet that allows you to add bosses to your maps with its own mod pool.
Well, there you fucking go. Problem solved. Maps by default have more bosses, and we're getting boss tablets. That's excellent. Huge win.
Strongboxes also needed some love.
Yeah, they
now
did.
spawn monsters faster, have a less annoying fog effect, and have also received changes to the timings and effects of the mods on them.
Okay. It's
Now,
like a
let's talk about
mini
visibility of
ritual.
effects. Many maps had too much clutter, preventing effects on the ground from rendering, causing you to be unable to see.
Oh yeah,
the
that's
forest.
way easier to
So it's
see.
changed the level of clutter on some maps, and has changed some effects to make sure that they are always visible. In addition, elemental explosion effects have had visibility improved. Stick around for longer before they explode, and disappear without
That's
exploding. before
way
their monster dies.
easier to see. Holy shit.
Volatile plants are also way easy to see before they explode.
They should just delete volatile
also
plants
increased
from the
the zoom
game,
level on the
in my
Atlas.
opinion.
Done a pass on various terrain collision issues in many maps. We've also improved the load times of opening the world map and atlas panel.
The loading time for the map was always ridiculously high for some reason. Even just the regular static world map, the load time for it was absurd.
And we also now show
And I have
the
a
biome
really
map
good
on the hover
PC.
for it.
Biome
For other
hovers.
in-game content systems, we're focusing on getting all the rewards in line with what they should be. For Delirium, we recently fixed a bug which caused Delirium monsters to just not spawn after the starting part. And we've also buffed the rate of simulacrums dropping by 20% to make it more in line with the rate of finding the expedition and ritual bosses.
Oh, that's awesome. I love distilling shit.
For Ritual, we've made omens
my-
now appear in the Ritual Tribute window.
Delirium is my personal favorite thing to do. I just think instilling amulets can be extremely powerful.
60%
I think it's
off.
way underrated by most players.
For Expedition, we've improved the rarity from the shops, but we'll be wanting to make some more substantial changes to the rewards for this league later on. Now, one of the major concerns that we're often seeing is that getting to play Pinnacle content just takes too long, and that when you do finally get there, you only get
True.
one attempt and don't get a chance to learn the boss.
True.
In order to address these concerns, we're making the following changes. First, we're making the Citadels spawn closer to the center of the
Ooh.
Atlas, and we've also added an effect so you can see them in the fog of war. from further away.
Nice.
This
So
makes
they
them
have little
much easier to find.
beacons.
To
That's
address the problem
awesome.
of only having one attempt, on the Arbiter of Ash you will now get up to 6 respawn attempts. Respawns can only be
Oh,
triggered by
wow. They're adding respawns to boss fights?
the person who put in the keys, and everyone on your party will be respawned at the same time.
Is it
Leaving the
just
map
this
still
boss?
forfeits your attempt, so you'll still need to fight the boss with the build you walked into the map with. Higher difficulties of the boss will lower the number of respawn attempts you get, but you should know the mechanics of the fight by then, right?
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Now, we'll also be adding respawns to other Pinnacle content as well over time.
Okay, so it's only this one right now.
Another thing that players have noticed is that there are less keys from Farad'n Citadels on the market, and thought that it was because the
Just
Citadel
because
spawns
no one
less
can
often.
fucking kill him.
It turns out, though, that this is just because the boss kills players more often than the others.
Hey, he's a
We've made
massive
few changes to that
asshole.
boss to bring it in line with the other bosses. A lot of people have reported that many of our unique items are feeling underwhelming. Uniques
Big
are often
true.
designed to be build enabling at high levels, even if they're low level uniques. But we realize that we do need to make sure that
There's only like a handful of uniques that are actually useful at endgame. I can think of like 3 off the top of my head, and that's it.
more uniques feel powerful when you first get them at low levels too. In this patch, we are buffing a lot of uniques. These changes
Oh, wow. Lots of buffs. Let's see, what do we got? So it looks like they're adding another modifier to most of them, as well as buffing the existing modifiers. So for example, they're just on Bramblejack, they're increasing the max life and increasing the stun threshold.
should make finding uniques at lower levels a lot more fun, and make subsequent character playthroughs more fun too, when you have some great uniques to use.
Yeah, uniques are pretty damn good to use on leveling characters, for sure, but they just haven't really had much of a place in endgame, aside from a few really strong uniques.
We're also changing a few other things to make finding rares better at higher levels too. First, we're changing mod weightings a bit to make sure that there are less bad mods. Another fix is making high tier items no longer cull the highest tier modifier of a given mod type. This bug caused bows and crossbows
That's
to not spawn
fucked up.
with attack speed at tier 5 rarity,
Holy
and
shit.
rings to not spawn with life at tier 5 rarity.
Wow.
Another change we're making is to make it so that socketables such as runes can now be overwritten with another socketable.
Huge.
Now, as we continue to play,
Hold on. That's massive. So now you can just freely socket your gear without having to worry too much about the future. So for example, if I'm down cold resist right now, I can plug that into my chest as an example. And then let's say I find a pair of boots 10 minutes later that has cold resist, and it's an overall upgrade to my current boots, and that puts me over cap. Well, I just wasted basically my entire fucking chest piece now, because it has a socket that's completely worthless. What this will do is I can overwrite that then with health or more armor or something. This is such a good thing. Most people were asking for this.
We still find many balance anomalies with specific monsters or bosses that can be nasty if you encounter them. This patch contains a pass adjusting
Fucking
a large number
Bonky
of those monsters
Kong.
and bosses.
The giant fucking monkey that'll roll and one-shot you without a wind-up or telegraph. So bullshit.
Save the full list for the patch notes, but there are a significant number of changes here that should address many cases where monsters or bosses felt too hard in certain circumstances. Here are a few examples to get a taste of what kind of changes you can expect. The Silverfist
there he
Commander
is.
roll now does a lot less damage.
There you go. Holy shit.
Plague Bearers Detonate Dead can no longer be used from...
Yeah, this fucking roll would just one-shot you, man. Out of nowhere. See, look, there's no wind-up to it.
Examples to get a taste of what kind of changes you can expect. The Silverfist
It just
Commander roll now does a lot
rolls
less
right
damage.
into you. And it would one-shot you in a lot of
Plague Bearers
cases.
Detonate Dead can no longer be used from off-screen and has better telegraphing.
Oh, fuck those guys.
Forsaken Miners throw less grenades, have improved visuals, and deal less damage.
I think those guys are
Lost Men
okay.
Zealots can no longer meteor you from off-screen either.
I'm glad they're making the TNT sticks easier to see, because they are a little bit hard to see. I think they're okay, though, because you have so much time to react to it. And the only way they really get you is if you're just not paying attention and you're just drooling on yourself in a pack of mobs and they're throwing these dynamite sticks at you. But making things easier to see is never a bad thing, so I'm all for it.
Damage. And Lost Men Zealots can no longer meteor
And these meteor guys were complete dick bags. I lost a hardcore character to these fuckers.
you from off-screen either, as well as many other changes just like those.
That meteor does so much damage, and they can cast it while off screen, and there's barely any telegraph to tell you that it's coming. So you just get a fucking meteor drop on your head, and suddenly you're dead out of
One of the
nowhere.
big issues for players on consoles is that the web-based item filter system is currently not working.
Console
This means that we
players don't
can't use
have
item
item
filters like
filters. That
PC users can.
sounds fucking
The
miserable.
0.1.1 will be enabling the same system that POE 1 has, which allows you to subscribe to item filters on the website. For now,
Awesome.
this will be
Good
done
for
on the
console
POE 1
players.
website to allow us to get this feature out as fast as possible. Later on, we'll improve the user experience of this and put it on the Path of Exile 2 website.
Excellent.
This patch also contains a bunch of other smaller changes and bug fixes that I'm sure you guys will appreciate, like buffing armor and scavenged plating,
Oh, armor buffs.
showing the number of uses left in your charms, as well as an effect when they trigger.
I'm a warrior enjoyer, so any buffs to armor, health, or anything along those lines, I'm all for it.
The song of the exiles.
Fixing the music that Una was supposed to play in town.
Ah, okay. So yeah, I tried asking her to play music previously, but I just assumed that maybe the songs weren't implemented yet. I didn't realize that it was just a straight up bug. Somebody forgot to connect the wave files to the dialogue response or some shit.
And plenty of other little
Cool.
fixes and
Awesome.
improvements throughout the game. Now, we have a huge amount of much more meta-shifting changes that we know we want to make. And one of the best things about having the game in early access with the endgame is that we now have a much better idea of where we want character power to be and what the balance of bosses and monsters should be relative to that. But those types of changes are going to have to wait until we are ready to make a new league with a new economy for people to play in.
Gotcha. So they're not going to
Still
do an
a
economy reset anytime soon, it sounds like.
while away yet.
Yep.
But in the meantime, we'll be continuing to identify things that are causing
Probably a month or two. I'd say a month at the earliest, 2 months at the latest.
frustration and try and address them. I want to thank you guys for playing and hope to be doing more of these in the future.
No,
Later.
thank you, Jonathan, for making a wonderful game. You and your team. Yeah, overall, huge wins all around. Buffing endgame progression.
Saving.
I have ads, yes. Buffing endgame progression. Basically, buffing item drops. Overall, buffing the players in general. More items, better items. That means stronger players. So, yeah. Well, looks good.